Get ready to elevate your Copilot for OneNote game as we unravel 9 tips to take you from bronze to gold medal Olympic style. We are first going to explore some of the basics. After all, every gold medalist didn't get to where they were without understanding all of the fundamentals. At Amy's Animal Shop, we are going to be hosting the first ever Dog Olympics, and here we have a business plan in OneNote. Now, for this market analysis section, there is a fair bit of information here, and it would really be nice to just generate a quick summary of the contents. So we are going to highlight the text, right-click it, and then here at the top is this little Copilot button, and we are going to go to Summarize. So just a quick note here, you need 30 words for Copilot to have something to work with in order to provide a summary, and we can see here that the summary is being generated. So this is a great way to just get a snapshot of some of the information on your page so that you don't have to read all of it. At the bottom here, we either have the option to keep it or we can discard it. The next feature that I want to show you is the rewrite feature. So this time, let's select all of this text, right-click it, Copilot. There is this little to-do item here. We're going to skip that for now, but don't worry, we will come back to it in just a sec. The one we're looking for is the rewrite feature. So here we can see that Copilot is now going to be taking the contents from this page that we've highlighted, and it is going to rewrite it into a nice paragraph. And look at that. We have this beautiful paragraph written here. So this time, let's once again keep it. Now, you might be thinking, what are the differences here? They both seem pretty comparable. So the summary I have found is a direct summary of the contents of the text that you have selected. So I would say that this is great when you have a large document or even just a large paragraph or a detailed section and you don't want to read it all and you just want to take the direct summary of those contents. Whereas the rewrite feature, this takes the text that you have highlighted and it will rewrite it to make it flow better. So I would say that this is really good if you're jotting down a bunch of notes or you just have a paragraph that doesn't sound good. Copilot will just make it sound better. I would also say that the summary tends to be a little more formal, and it would even be good for drafting an executive summary for your document, whereas the rewrite is typically less formal. Now, before we move on, I just wanted to note here, you'll notice that Copilot has literally just added both of these contents to this page. When you select keep it, it's not replacing the text, it is just adding the text. And then you have both the summary or the rewrite or whatever content you've generated added to your page so that you can compare it to the original stuff and tweak it as you see fit. The fourth tip that I want to show you is that to-do feature. Now, this is the first ever Dog Olympics, so we are really excited to host it, but we are also a little overwhelmed. So why don't we ask Copilot to generate a to-do list for us? So in this case, we'll just right-click anywhere on the page, go Copilot, and then to do. You can see here that Copilot is reviewing our document and it's extracting a to-do list, taking what it thinks would be action items from your text and then putting that in a to-do list for you to action on. And here we have our to-do list that has been inserted automatically by Copilot and as those checklist tags, so we can literally just go ahead and work through these items. So this is great if you have a meeting summary and you don't know what your action items are, you know there's a lot to do, so you can just use this to-do feature within Copilot to generate a to-do list for you. Now that we have covered the basics, let's learn how we can get that gold medal. So for the next portion of the video, we are going to be working from the home ribbon and Copilot. So here, there are some predefined prompts at the top just so that you can get your ideas flowing. And additionally, there are other prompts down here. You just select view prompts. So you can create, understand, edit, or ask. The fifth tip that I want to show you is how we can create a tailored to-do list. This one is great that we've generated here, but depending on the length of your document, it could be a very long list and it's a little bit difficult to navigate in my opinion. So I always like to create a more custom prompt to get a more tailored response. So in this case, let's go ahead and ask Copilot to extract a to-do list from the business plan for the Dog Olympics, notes on this page, and include tasks for the pre-event, during the event, and post-event. We can see here that Copilot has now created a list for us based on those 3 sections. So in this case, let's copy this text. We can just paste it onto the page. We can quickly just delete the intros and the outros. And then here we have a nice clean list. But we don't have it in that checklist format, so we can easily just highlight the text and then just go to do tag. Now you'll notice that these little bullet points look a little bit funny, so we can simply just click on the bullets item and then those will be unticked. Now, because I know everyone likes a good shortcut key, we can also just go Control-1, just untick at the top, and then Control-1 again. So now Copilot has created a much easier to navigate to-do list for us. I just think that this is a little bit nicer than this long list of items. The 6th tip is how we can ask Copilot to summarize our contents for an email. So here we have transcribed a meeting notes on whether we should use Planner, Microsoft Lists, or planning the first ever Dog Olympics. And I've even added some additional notes here using a stylus. So this is great if you have been into a meeting, you have transcribed some meeting notes, and you've even added additional notes onto your page you want Copilot to consider. So in this case, we are going to prompt Copilot to summarize this page as an email to the team to highlight the reasons why you'll choose Microsoft Planner to plan the first ever Dog Olympics. Put the highlights in an easy to read bullet points. So this is where we are specific about providing information on how we want the output to be. And also add a closing sentence so that if you are enjoying this video, then please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, as it really helps me out. We can see here that Copilot is now looking over our prompt. It is now sending this prompt into Copilot, and it is going to be extracting content from this transcribed meeting and creating the output that we have asked for it. So here we can see that Copilot has done exactly what we asked. Now, before I dive into that, I just want to highlight this from your document. We are going to dive into that in just a moment because it's a pretty cool and very important piece of information. But we can see here that it is put this content into an email, starting off with "Hello team," and then it's also provided those bullet points like we mentioned, as well as that closing sentence to comment, like, and subscribe. Now, the one thing that I really do like about Copilot's outputs here are that it provides references. So as a rule of thumb, you should always verify the information that Copilot generates. And when we select these reference points, then it highlights the text and takes us to that area of the document so that you can verify it before you go ahead and send that email. So now we can go ahead and copy this, and we can paste it into an email. Just be sure to update it, and then you might even want to remove those references so that people, might actually think that you generated this. This leads me to tip number 7, which is how we can chat with Copilot, get information that we may need when we are on the fly. And in this case, we can see that Copilot is provided 2 suggested prompts. So it's saying add more details about the Dog Olympics, or what other features does Microsoft Planner have? Now, in this case, I'm going to go ahead and select add more details about the Dog Olympics. I want to add a little bit more of excitement to this email and just kind of fluff it up a little bit better. Talking about lists and planner is a little bit boring, so let's see what Copilot generates here. So here we can see that Copilot is saying, sorry, but it seems that there's no additional information about the Dog Olympics in your current document. So your current document is the current page that you are working on within OneNote. And then now going back from your document. So now what about other documents? In this case, we are going to prompt Copilot and ask, what about venues for the Dog Olympics in company document? So this time we have a nice list of dog events as well as the venues. So here we have, for example, the Pacific National Exhibition grounds. Now, by saying that we want venues, this is a key component when you are chatting with Copilot, as we are providing specific information. Otherwise, you're basically sending Copilot on a wild goose chase to find any information possible about the Dog Olympics in your company documents, which we're going to touch on in just a second. So by being specific and saying venues, you are creating clear direction for Copilot to go and provide specific information about the venues. Now, in this instance, we once again have those citations or references, but when we click on them, we will be redirected to Microsoft Loop, where the information on the events lives. So this is pretty cool because Copilot is able to reference other documents so that you can gather information without leaving OneNote. Pretty cool. Now, I also wanted to note that when we specified company documents, Copilot is associated with your license. So when it is searching documents to find this information, it is only searching for documents that your license has access to. So it inherits the same permissions as your standard Microsoft 365 license. The 8th tip is how we can ask Copilot to help us draft a plan. So here we are back in the business plan for the Dog Olympics. I want to create a plan specifically for the marketing team. We are going to ask Copilot to draft a plan for the marketing team for the Dog Olympics using contents from this page under the marketing strategy. We can see here that Copilot has now generated in-depth, detailed marketing plan based on the marketing strategy section of this page, which is far beyond anything that I would have been able to create within this 1 minute that it took to generate this. So once that's generated, then we can just scroll on back down and then just copy the contents. We can add a new page and we can just paste that content. But if you find it a little bit tedious to be copying and then pasting these contents in a new page, that leads me to tip number 9. Here we are in Microsoft Loop, and we have the exact same contents within a Loop page. Now, when we go ahead and use Copilot within Loop, we can draft with Copilot, paste the exact same prompt. Now we are going to see a difference between Copilot within OneNote versus Copilot within Loop. And here we can see that Copilot has gone ahead and just generated that content directly within this Loop page. So you're saving yourself from that tedious copying and pasting within OneNote. I'm not saying that OneNote is not great for using Copilot, but depending on your circumstances, this may be a better way for you to work with Copilot. And if you're interested in learning more about Loop and Copilot, then you can check out my other video linked here.